let it roll.
You tweaked the lineup a little bit up the last game on the road. Were you satisfied with what you saw with the adjustments?
Yeah, I thought Nick responded extremely well. He's played well. He's earned that starting spot. We felt that James's athletic ability was going to be a big plus for us. And I thought the guys who came off the bench responded well. As I said, a couple weeks ago, I think that there's a fluidness with a couple of those spots that we need to embrace, and I think our guys have embraced. They know they're going to get their minutes. Sometimes it's early matchups. Sometimes it's, what they've done in practice to earn that. And so, our guys know one of our strengths is our depth and different guys having to step up. So I think you may see that the rest of the season.
Speaking of depth, Syracuse is a team that really relies on their starters for a lot of minutes. So I imagine this is something you might want to.
Yeah, there are some teams that, depth or lack thereof can really impact the game. Syracuse, I don't think, is one of those teams. Some of it has to do with their defense with the zone. Not that they don't play hard in it, because they really do, but it's different. And they're so good at it. And they have, a fifth-year senior and another senior at the guard spot. Coleman's a senior. So they have some veteran guys. So they know kind of when to exert and when they need to reserve it. And they do that in a smart way. And I say that with all respect, because they're able to really make it work without a lot of impact at all on the fact that they go, 7 or 8 at times is as deep as they go.
Obviously, I know with the zone, you said it before, you need to get in and, under it.
Yeah.
But also, obviously, it could also be the same time of the game for Quentin and Adam to keep things.
Well, you have to make some perimeter shots.
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, 2 years ago we beat them.
Right.
Last year we lost by 1. And did not shoot the ball well inside or outside. Missed a million, shots around the rim, but they had, Christmas inside. It was as good a 5-man in their zone as maybe they've had in a long, long time. But in those 2 games, we've only made 7 threes.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, in 2 games. So we've had success being able to get the ball inside, being able to offensive rebound, getting a couple transition points. I don't think they've given up a transition basket in 3 games.
Wow.
So you got to get a couple of those. But we're a better shooting team.
Right.
So that becomes an addition to our game plan. You have to make, because if we made 1 more 3 last year, if we would have hit 8 threes, then we would have won that game.
Right.
You look at the stats going into their game with Notre Dame, they were sort of towards the bottom of the league in field goal percentage, but they really shot the ball well.
Yeah, you look at it, and they shoot almost 26 threes a game. So their overall field goal percentage is not going to be that great because
it's skewed by the threes.
it's skewed by the threes. But you're looking at Richardson, who is shooting well from the 3. Cooney obviously is shooting well from the 3. Bennett was at like 26-27% in league play heading into yesterday, but he's an exceptional shooter. And then Leiden off the bench gives him an added dimension as a big that can shoot it. You go back into depth; those are the 4 guys, So they get you stretched out. They're great off the dribble, and as I said, they're playing better because Richardson is playing as well as any freshman in the league right now. He's a superstar in waiting, and the waiting might be over. He's their leading scorer in the league. He's playing with such confidence. He's changed their team, and that's given Benajay and Cooney more freedom now too, because now you have to worry about the 3rd guy on the perimeter.
Naturally, Cooney's a guy you got to keep an eye on at all times, because if you get him going in the beginning of the game, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and he's just one of those guys. He's perpetual movement, never stops moving. He's like Adam in the fact that 1 or 2 misses doesn't affect him. He's almost at a point where he can't believe he missed a shot, and he just knows the next one's going in. But he's got great movement. They're tremendous three-point shooters in transition and tremendous three-point shooters on broken plays. And because of that, you can defend them really well, and then they still end up getting some open looks, and you just got to make sure you limit those.
Nick, he was telling me about, he's working on improving his conditioning and his weight. Like, beyond minutes and points, like, how do you see that impacting his play? Just being...
it's the same thing. I sound like a broken record sometimes, but, I would say the price tag never decreases.
Right.
It always increases. So when you get to a certain point, if you do the same stuff, it's not like you're going to get any better.
Right.
You have to keep doing more. You got to keep finding different ways to improve, and that's kind of what Nick has done. He's obviously a very good low post scorer. He's rebounding the ball better for us, and all those things come with the extra work that he's putting in and getting in a little better shape and dropping 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pounds.
Yeah.
But I always say, it's always not just the weight and the better conditioning. It's the habits that you need to do that. It's very similar with Charles, The habits that you have to have on a daily basis to do that are the same habits that make you a better player when you're in practice and in games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody struggles. It's just not our players. It's you, me. Everybody struggles with being disciplined and staying consistent and doing the things you should do.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times you say, I know I shouldn't do that, and you still grab that cookie.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or you should get a workout in, and you don't get it in.
Yeah.
It's sometimes we look at these kids and say, well, why wouldn't he be doing that? Well, no one does that.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard,
Yeah.
and you have to stick with it. And then, as we've talked about, it's always harder too when maybe you're not getting any tangible results. Now, what you need to do is once you start getting those tangible results, you kick it into another gear. And I think that's what you're seeing with Nick right now.
We've all seen
and I'm not saying you guys eat extra cookies or don't work out.
No,
that.
that would never happen.
No.
We've all seen that Marcus is a go-to guy, but has there been a point in the season or maybe in practices where you saw that he really started to step it up a notch, especially the results we've seen lately?
Yeah, and I think, you look at 2 games ago and having him not out there on the court was, a huge impact on that game. But the one thing he's been able to do is also not act as a decoy, so to speak, but draw so much attention that you're able to get some other stuff as well. We got 2 big post baskets, one by Chuck, one by Nick, in the last 8 minutes of that game the other night, and that was because the defense was shifted so much on Adam and Marcus. But we keep driving Marcus that in everything we do, he's got to be that that go-to guy. That doesn't always mean the go-to guy has to score, but he's got to be the one gathering the guys together. He's got to be the one making sure everybody knows what we're supposed to be doing, and he's done a really good job of that.
You say Nick was saying that I guess he's been spending some extra time before practice working with you on post moves, that sort of thing. And I guess his right hand hook, I guess, is something that's come a little bit.
Yeah.
What have you done?
Just a lot of reps.
Yeah.
A lot of reps. He's very skilled in there, just not as comfortable and confident in that.
Right.
And he gets the credit because he's putting in the work. It's not like I showed him anything different. It just I'm there rebounding for him. But I think he's embraced the fact that, and it's just not me. Mamadou's done a great job. Tom and Chad. We spend a lot of time with our guys, and sometimes it just takes guys longer to realize that we're willing to spend the time with them. That if they put in the time, we're going to be there for them. And it's just sometimes, as you know, the old saying, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And he's got a future ahead of him. You know what I mean? He's going to make money playing basketball, and the harder he works, the down the road, the more money he's going to make. And at the same time, he wants to end it here the right way.
Right.
And I think there was some points in the season he wasn't satisfied with what he was doing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that if the motivation comes from inside, it's always going to be better than from the outside.
Right. We've talked before just about finding that fourth consistent scorer. And if you could be that for you, I imagine that would be a big lift.
Yeah, and then we need to get Chuck going again.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah, that would be huge because now you have, Chuck who's going to get you between 10 and 15, you hope, every night, and Adam and Marcus, who's the third leading scorer in the ACC right now or something like that.
Right.
If you can get another 15 from the other post, man, that's a huge difference. We've talked about it. We scored 90 points the other night, and then should have had a parade. I mean, us scoring 90 points on the road.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we how many transition baskets did we not finish? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And our it's funny. Our defense was pretty good that night. You know what I mean? Because we executed the game plan. We knew Barber was going to be able to score because, as I said in the press conference, there's probably a handful of guys in the country. He's one of them. He can get a shot anytime he wants.
Right.
And it's usually about a 50% shot. Well, he took 27 shots. And a lot of times we were going to go one-on-one in the post because we didn't want some of their second and third guys, Maverick, Rowan, and Martin, to get 15 or 18 points. And that was a big difference in the game.
Playing in a lot of close games, naturally foul shooting is a big key to winning those games. And you've talked about getting the right guys to the foul line. We've seen that recently, and it's really made a difference.
It's incredible when the free throws are even how good we are. You know what I mean? And we did a great job at the line the other night. Some of it has to do with, again, we're a much better shooting team, so you're going to be a better free throw shooting team for the most part. But we got the ball in the right hands, and they took it. They started doing a hack-a-shack there at the end of the game, and Chuck made 1 out of 2, Ben made 1 out of 2, and then when they did it with Nick, he made both of them. And then from there, we were able to get the ball to some of our guards who made all of them.
With Chuck, what do you need to get him going again like that? Is there anything to take?
I thought he took a step the other night. I thought he was, he was better. Again, just he can't. He just needs to let it come. He's playing that every bit as hard as he's played before.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Seemed like he was pressing.
He was a little pressing a little bit. You know what I mean? Pressing a little bit, and again, where that causes some performance problems. It's an issue that you'd rather have as a coach than a guy who doesn't play hard or care. You know what I mean? He almost wants it too bad, and there's that fine line where you're thinking too much, pressing too much. And then when you know everything you're supposed to do and you just go out there and compete.
Right.
I never say you just go out there and play, because play kind of has a connotation of just, haphazard, no discipline to it or whatever.
Right.
You got to go out there and just compete. You know it, now it's time to compete. And because competing includes, there's a IQ quotient to it, a discipline quotient to it, understanding the game plan and following the game plan. Part of that, and that's where I thought we did a much better job on Wednesday night.
Good.
Okay.
Thanks.
All good.